Good morning. Today's story is brought to you by Pothead Coffee. Good till the bottom. And now for the rest of the story. In the summer of 1930, a quiet Iowa artist was being driven through the tiny railroad town of Eldon when something caught his eye: a modest white farmhouse. Nothing grand, nothing particularly elegant, stood on a slight rise, but raising from its upper story was a tall, pointed Gothic window, the kind of elaborate arched opening usually reserved for cathedrals in distant Europe. To the painter, the window looked almost pretentious on such a humble little house. He asked the driver to stop. He sketched the place on the back of an envelope. Back in his studio in Cedar Rapids, the artist began to wonder who would live in a house like that? What sort of stern, upright, no nonsense Midwestern souls would match the severe architecture? He decided to invent them. He would paint American Gothic people. For the man, he needed a face of character, long, serious, strong of jaw and hand. For the woman, someone who could look prim, proper, and a little severe. He dressed them carefully: overalls and a dark jacket for the man, a colonial print apron, and an old cameo for the woman. He placed a three-tined pitchfork firmly in the man's grip. He elongated their faces slightly to echo the vertical lines of that Gothic window. He worked from separate settings. The two models never stood together in front of the house, or anywhere else for that matter. When the painting was finished, he entered it into a competition at the Art Institute of Chicago. It won a bronze medal and a modest $300 prize. The museum bought it. Newspapers across the country reproduced it. Overnight, it became famous and controversial. Some Iowans were furious. One farm wife threatened to bite the artist's ear off. Another suggested someone should bash his head in. They thought he was mocking them, portraying the rural Midwesterners as pitched, grim, and humorless. The artist insisted he meant no insult. These were types of people he had known his entire life, he said. He had simply tried to make them more like themselves than they were in real life. For decades, the painting has stood as an American icon: the tight-lipped farmer and his companion, frozen forever in front of that little white house. Millions have assumed they were a husband and wife, the very embodiment of hard-working rural Americans. But they weren't. The woman was the artist's own sister, Nan Wood Graham. Young, stylish in real life, with fashionable marcelled hair. She later made it clear she did not care to be remembered as the wife of a man nearly twice her age. The painting, she insisted, showed a father and his grown daughter. And the man holding the pitchfork, the stern-faced farmer, who looks as if he had spent a lifetime behind a plow, he was the artist's own dentist. Dr. Brian McKeeby of Cedar Rapids, a modest, quiet professional who had never farmed a day in his life. The painter, a man with a legendary sweet tooth, who was known to put sugar even on his lettuce, had spent many hours in the dentist's chair, studying the strong hands and the serious face of the man who kept his teeth in order. When the time came to paint an American Gothic farmer, the dentist reluctantly agreed, on the condition that no one would recognize him. Of course, everyone did. The house still stands in Eldon, Iowa. The painting still hangs in Chicago, and the dentist who never held a pitchfork still stares out at the world, pitchfork in hand, as one of the most recognizable faces in all of American art. And now you know the rest of the story. Good day.